Okay, good day everyone, and now let's proceed to our discussions on the psychopharmacology. But before we proceed into the psychopharmacology or the different drugs using in the psychiatric nursing, let's define what is psychopharmacology. That is a branch of pharmacology that focuses on the study of how drugs affects the mood, behavior, cognitions, and mental disorder, and it involves the understanding how the various psychoactive substance interact with our neurotransmitter system in the brain to produce the therapeutic effects or the side effects. But before we discuss the different drugs used in the psychiatric nursing, let's first define the central nervous system. On the central nervous systems, we have the brain. Okay, in the brain, we have the four there. We have the cerebellum, brainstem, limbic system, and then we have the cerebrum. Let's focus first on the cerebellum. Cerebellum that is below the cerebrum. So this is the center for coordinations of movements and postural adjustment and reception and integrations of informations from all the body areas to coordinate the movement and posture. While on the brainstem, in the brainstem, we have here the midbrain, the pons, the medulla oblongata, the locus coeruleus, yan. So, yan yung paloob natin doon sa brainstem natin. But in the brainstem, in midbrain, that is the reticular activating system that is responsible for the motor activity, sleep, consciousness, and awareness, and the extrapyramidal uh, pyramidal system. While on the pons, that is the primary motor pathway, and the medulla oblongata, that is the vital center for cardiac, respiratory functions, for nuclear, for cranial nerves 3 through uh, 12. And then we have the locus coeruleus, that is norepinephrine producing neurons, that is for stress, anxiety, and impulsive behavior. And then we have here yung tinatawag po natin the limbic system. Okay, in the limbic system, we have that is the above the brain stem that consists of the thalamus, hypothalamus, and hippocampus or amygdala. So yung thalamus natin, that is for the activity, sensations, and emotions, and hypothalamus, that is the temperature regulations, appetite control, and endocrine functions, sexual drive, and impulsive behavior. While in the hippocampus and amygdala, that is emotional arousal and memory. And let's proceed first on another in the cerebrum. Yung cerebrum natin, we have the two hemisphere and then we have the four lobes. Okay, yung four lobes natin, we have the frontal lobe that is more on the thought, body movement, memories, emotions, moral behavior, and moral behavioral. While on the parietal lobe naman natin, that is for the taste, touch, and spatial orientations. And then on the temporal lobe natin, that is the smell, hearing, memory, and emotional expressions. While on the occipital lobe, that is on the language, visual interpretations such as depth perceptions. So that is for cerebrum. And next one, we have the neurotransmitter. So yung neurotransmitter natin, that is a chemical substance. Okay, wag po natin kakalimutan yan. That is the chemical substance to facilitate the transmissions and its importance in the right proportions to relay message. Studies showing differences in brains of people with some mental disorder. So this neurotransmitter play a role in psychiatric illness and psychotropic medications, including their actions and side effect. And then the neurotransmitter are a chemical messenger that your body or our body cannot functions without. So their job is to carry the chemical signals, which is the message from one neuron, which is the nerve cell, and to target the cell or target the next cells. So our nervous system controls such as the functions as our heartbeat and blood pressures, the breathing, muscles movement, thoughts, memory, learning, and feelings. And also here we have the sleep, healing and aging, stress response, hormone regulations, digestions, sense of hunger and thirst. and then also the senses, which is response to what you see, hear, feel, and touch. Okay, so we have a billion of nerve cell in our body. So yung nerve cell natin are generally made up of three parts. Kung makikita po natin on your screen, we have the cell body. Okay, this is the cell body. Okay, we have the axon. Okay, and then the other one is the axon terminal. Okay, so etong mga to, for example, in the cell body is the vital for producing the neurotransmitter and maintaining the functions of our nerve cells. On the axon part, that is carry the electrical signals along the nerve cell to the axon terminal. Kasi yung axon terminal natin, this is where the electrical message is changed to a chemical signals using the neurotransmitter to communicate with the next group of nerve cell, muscles, or organs. So yan po yun. So as you can see on your screen, this is a structure of neurons and the site of our neurotransmitter. Okay, ang tatlo lang po na alalahanin natin diyan, that is the cell body, the axon, and the axon terminal. Next, in the neurotransmitter, include here the dopamine, norepinephrine, epinephrine, and serotonin. So later on, meron pa po sa next slides, but let's focus first on the serotonin. In serotonin is inhibitory neurotransmitter. So yung serotonin natin helps regulate the mood, sleep patterns, sexuality, anxiety, appetite, and pain. So ang disease associated po natin dito with the serotonin imbalance, kapag nagkaroon po tayo ng imbalances in terms of our serotonin, nagkakaroon po tayo ng seasonal affective disorder, anxiety, depression, fibromyalgia, and chronic pain. So, ang medications that regulate serotonin and treat this disorder include the SSRI. So, that is the serotonin reuptake inhibitor and serotonin norepinephrine or reuptake inhibitor. So, later on, pag-usapan po natin yun. Next one, we have the we have the dopamine. Yung dopamine natin, that is plays a role in our body that reward system. Okay? Which includes the feeling of pleasure, achieving heightened arousals, and learning. So yung dopamine natin, it helps with focus, concentrations, memory, sleep, mood, and motivations. Kapag nagkaroon lang po tayo mga anak ng dysfunctions of the dopamine, include here the Parkinson's disease, schizophrenia, bipolar disease, restless leg syndrome, and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder o yung tinatawag nating ADHD. Okay, so this is many highly addictive drugs that is contain of cocaine, amphetamines that is act directly onto the dopamine system. And then we have the epinephrine. Yung epinephrine natin, that is also called as the adrenaline. Ito yung adrenaline. While on the norepinephrine, that is on the responsible for the body codes. Okay? In the norepinephrine, that is what do you call that one? In the norepinephrine, norepinephrine, that is norepinephrine and epinephrine are responsible for body codes the fight and flight response, which is the epinephrine yon. So this neurotransmitter stimulate our body's response by increasing your heart rates, breathing, blood pressures, blood sugar, and blood flow to our muscles, as well as the heightened attentions and focus to allow to act or react the different stressor. So kung nagkaroon po tayo ng too much epinephrine, can lead to high blood pressure, diabetic, heart disease, and other heart problems. So as a drug, epinephrine is used to treat anaphylaxis, asthma attacks, cardiac arrest, and several infections. while in the norepinephrine is also called as noradrenaline, increases the blood pressure and heart rate. So it most widely known for its effect on alertness, arousal, decision making, attention, and focus. So many medications here is stimulant and depressions medications aim to increase the norepinephrine level to improve focus or concentration to treat the ADHD and to modulate norepinephrine to improve the depression symptoms. Another neurotransmitter here, we have the histamine, acetylcholine, glutamate, and we have the GABA. Okay, let's start with the glutamate. Yung glutamate natin is the common excitatory neurotransmitter of our nervous system. So it almost abundant neurotransmitter in our brain. So it plays a key role in cognitive functions. So like yung thinking, learning, and memory. If there is imbalances in glutamate levels, it's already associated with Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease, dementia. While on the gamma or GABA na tinatawag natin or gamma aminobutyric, that is most common inhibitory neurotransmitter of our nervous system. So particularly in our brain. So it regulates brain activity to prevent problems in the areas of anxiety, irritability, concentrations, sleeps, seizure, and depressions. Okay. So yun po yun. Okay. So that is for, and then on the histamine level, that is for the alertness, control of the gastric secretions, cardiac stimulations, peripheral allergic responses, while on the acetylcholine, that is focused on the sleep and wakefulness cycle. So this is signals for muscles to become alert. Okay, questions. Okay, is the following statement true or false? The cerebellum consists of 4 lobes. Okay, so what your answer here? Okay, so the answer there is that is false. Okay, very good. Next one, we have the causes of mental illness. We have the genetics and hereditary. So the genetics and hereditary play roles but not solely genetic. Twin, adoption, and family studies are used. Okay. And then in the psychoimmunology, that is compromised immune system possibly contributing especially in genetically and at risk populations. And then in the infections part, that is at tourists include viruses that alter the human genes viruses during the fetal development. Okay, what are the nurses' role in research and educations in terms of psychopharmacology? So the nurses plays a critical role in both research and educations to ensure that the clients and families are well informed and actively participating in the healthcare decisions. Number one here, we have ensure. Ensure all our clients and families are well informed. Okay, so nurse should be provide a clear and understandable informations about the diagnosis, treatment, and procedure to our patients and families to ensure they're knowledgeable about their health conditions and care options. Okay, nurses also here must adjust the complexity and amount of informations based on the client's or family health literacy level to make the sure that they are fully understand. Okay, number two is to help. Okay, in help, distinguish between the facts and the hypothesis. There is nurses help patients and families differentiate between the established medical facts and emerging research. That is still the exploratory or hypothesis testing phase. And nurses should guide the clients in interpreting the research outcomes, helping them understand the potential impacts and limitations of ongoing or new studies. Next one, we have explain. So explain how new research may affect the client's treatment or prognosis. Never use Nurses use the latest research to provide updated informations on treatments, technologies, or medications that might influence the client's care or health outcomes. And nurses help explain how the recent discoveries may alter a client's prognosis or treatment plans, highlighting any changes in the best practices or new interventions that could be available. And lastly, we have to provide informations and answer questions. So nurses are often the primary point of the contact for the patients and families seeking answer about their conditions, treatment options, or potential outcomes. So by maintaining open communication channels, nurses address any concern and questions clients may have. So ensuring they are supported throughout their care journey. So through these actions, nurses serve as an advocates, educators, and facilitators. So playing an essential in promoting patient-centered care and encouraging informed decisions making. So these are the nurses' role in research and educations in psychopharmacology. Next, let's proceed to the psychopharmacology. Psychotropic drugs are medications that affects the brain's neurotransmitter system and are used to treat variety of mental health conditions. Okay? Let's start with the efficacy. Efficacy or the maximal therapeutic effect. So efficacy refers to the maximum therapeutic effect a drug can achieve regardless of the dose. So it is the drug's ability to produce the desired outcome when administered in optimal conditions. So example, an antidepressant efficacy is measured by its ability to reduce the depressive symptoms to the fullest extent. Okay? Next one, we have the potency. Potency or yung tinatawag nating amount of drug needed for maximum effect. So potency refers to the amount of the drug required to produce its maximal effect. So highly potent drug will require a lower dose to achieve its desired therapeutic effect. Example, a low antipsychotic like haloperidol is more potent than a higher dose of a different antipsychotic like quetiapine to achieve the same effect. Okay? Next, we have the half-life. In half-life, that is a drug is the time it takes for the half of the drug to be eliminated from our body. So this concept is critical for determining dosing schedule and how long a drug remains active in the system. So example in half-life, that is antipsychotic drug that is a long life or long half-life. So such as Plozectin or yung Prozac may only need to be taken once daily, while a drug with a shorter half-life may need more frequent dosing. Okay, let's proceed to the role of the FDA. So, or the Food and Drug Administration. So, the FDA oversees the approval of the new drugs based on their safety and efficacy for the specific condition. So, this involves the rigorous clinical trials before a drug can be marketed. So, the FDA also monitor the safety of the drugs after they are related to the public, ensuring continued safety and issuing warnings as needed. Okay, and then we have the off-label use. Off-label use refers to prescribing a drug for a purpose different from the condition it was originally approved for. So this practice is common in psychopharmacology when a drug is found to be effective for conditions other than those it was tested for. And example here that is antidepressant like the SSRI are sometimes used as a off-label for the anxiety disorder, chronic pain, or insomnia, even though they were initially approved for depressions. And lastly, yung tinatawag po nating black box warning. So, a black box warning is the strongest warning issued by the FDA and appears on the packaging of the prescription drugs that carry significant risk of serious or life-threatening side effects. So example here is the antidepressant like SSRI carried a black box warning regarding the increased risk of suicidal thoughts and behavior in children, adolescents, and young adults. The principles of psychopharmacology. So, when managing the treatment with psychotropic drugs, several important considerations must be taken into account to ensure the safe, effective, and patient-centered care. Number one, we have the effect on the target symptoms. Psychotropic medications are prescribed to address the specific target symptoms such as anxiety, depression, or psychosis. The effectiveness of this treatment is measured by how well the drugs reduces or eliminates these symptoms. Okay? Next one, we have the adequate dosage for sufficient time. For a drug to be effective, it must be administered at the correct dosage for an appropriate duration. So some psychotropic drugs take several weeks to show their full therapeutic effect. So it is important to maintain the treatment before assessing its efficacy. Next, we have the lowest effective dose. The goal is to use the lowest dose of medications that effectively manage symptoms to minimize the side effects and potential long-term risks. And then we have the lower doses for older adults. That is, older adults often require lower doses of psychotropic medications due to the age-related changes in metabolism, increased sensitivity to drugs, and a higher risk of adverse effect. We have the tapering rather than abrupt cessation. Okay, so psychotropic medications should generally be tapered off slowly rather than stop abruptly to avoid the withdrawal symptoms. To avoid withdrawal symptoms, rebound symptoms, or recurrence of the original conditions. Okay, and then we have the follow-up care. So sa follow-up care naman natin, that is, a regular follow-up visits are essential to monitor our patient's response to the medications, adjust dosage if necessary, and detect any side effects or complications. And lastly, we have a simple regimen to increase the compliance. Okay, so simplying the medications regimen such as minimizing the number of daily doses can help increase adherence to the treatment plan. So there is a complex regimen can lead to missed doses or discontinuations of the treatments. So these guidelines are essential for optimizing the psychotropic medication use, ensuring our patient safety, minimizing the side effect, and improving the overall treatment outcomes. Okay, these are the example of major tranquilizer, antipsychotic, major tranquilizer, and antipsychotic. Okay. So the following are the key details about the haloperidol or the Haldol, chlorpromazine or the Thorazine, clozapine or Chlorazil, olanzapine or Zyprexa, which are the antipsychotic medications to use to treat the various psychiatric conditions. So the haloperidol. The haloperidol is the first class generation's antipsychotic. So ang use nito is to treat the schizophrenia, acute psychosis, delirium, and to manage acute agitations. So the mechanism of actions natin ng haloperidol or Haldol blocks the dopamine D2 receptor which help to reduce the psychotic symptoms such as hallucinations and delusions. So there are some side effects of this drug like EPS, yung extrapyramidal symptoms natin such as tremors, rigidity, bradykinesia, and tardive dyskinesia, which is the involuntary muscle movement. So haloperidol can help or can cause sedations, hypotensions, and anticholinergic effects like dry mouth. So, dito naglalagay tayo ng black box warning. So, this increased mortality risk in elder patients with dementia-related psychosis. Next, we have the chlorpromazine or yung Toracin natin. So this is a first generation ulit na antipsychotic that is used to treat schizophrenia, several behavior problems, and manic phase of bipolar disorder. It can also be used for nausea, vomiting, and intractable hiccups. So ang mechanism of action nito is like haloperidol, it's primarily blocks the dopamine D2 receptor and to reduce the psychotic symptoms. Ang side effect nito common is strong sedation, weight gain, hypotensions, anticholinergic effects such as dry mouth, constipations, blurred visions. Okay. So, black box warning natin dito is increased mortality risk in elderly patients with dementia-related psychosis. Next one, we have the clozapine or the Chloracil. So this is naman a second generation. Kung kanina yung haloperidol natin at chlorpromazine, that is a first generations. This time in clozapine or Chloracil, that is the second generations. So primarily used for treatment resistant schizophrenia and reducing suicidal behavior in schizophrenic or schizoaffective disorder patients. So it blocks the serotonin and dopamine receptor, with more emphasis on serotonin receptor, which leads to fewer extra pyramidal side effects compared to the first generation antipsychotics. So usually ang side effect nito is cause agranulocytosis, a dangerous drop in white blood cell, requiring regular blood monitoring. Okay, and other side effect here is include weight gain, sedation, hypotension, increased risk of seizures, and metabolic symptoms. So ang black box warning natin dito, increased risk of agranulocytosis, seizure, myocarditis, orthostatic hypotension, and increased mortality in elderly patients with dementia-related psychosis. And lastly, we have the olanzapine. Yung olanzapine natin, that is Zyprexa, that is used to treat schizophrenia. So yan po yung ating major tranquilizer or antipsychotic. So kung makikita natin dito, kanina nasabi ko na sa inyo yung mga different side effects or the desired effect. Usually kasi ang desired side effect nito ng ating major tranquilizer or antipsychotic, that is decreased delusions. So alam naman na natin, delusions, that is a firm or fixed belief, hallucination or the perception in the absence of external stimuli that has qualities of real perceptions, and another desired effect is looseness of association, that is shifting from one topic to unrelated topic. Okay, there is reportable signs and symptoms. So the reportable signs and symptoms, report some sore throat, avoid exposure to sunlight, report elevated temperature and muscle rigidity, indicates NMS. So the side effect here are the akathisia. Yung akathisia natin, that is inability to remain still or the feeling of internal restlessness or jitteriness. And then we have the tardive dyskinesia, the movement disorder characterized by uncontrollable, abnormal, and repetitive movements of the face, torso, and or other body parts. So yung blinking rapidly, chewing motions, grimacing, or frowning. And then we have the torticollis, that is also known as wry neck. That is a twisting of the neck that causes the head to rotate and tilt at the odd angle. And then we have ophiototonus. So that is spasm of the muscle causing the backward arcing of the head, neck, and spine. Okay, so ang nursing consideration lang natin dito mga anak is best taken ang ating major tranquilizer after meals. Check on the check the BP, which is the hypotension, check the CBC, which is the leukopenia, and then antidote po natin ang major tranquilizer natin, an antipsychotic, that is parlodel and decanonic. Next one, we have the anti-Parkinsonian agents. So, that is prevent pseudo-Parkinsonism. So, that is a reactions to medications that imitates the symptoms and appearance of Parkinson's disease. So, the most recognizable symptoms includes slow movement, muscle stiffness, and shuffling walk. This is the condition is generally reversible and can be treated by stopping the medications causing the reactions. So there are two types. We have the dopaminergic drugs and then we have the anticholinergic drugs. So yan po yung mga sample po natin of anti-Parkinsonian agents. And then we have the desired effect niya dito mga anak. We have the muscle become less stiff and decrease pill rolling tremors. And usually there is a reportable signs and symptoms is nausea, vomiting, and anorexia. And then the side effects, we have the leukopenia, which is a low white blood vessel count is decrease in the cells in the blood that fight the disease. And we have also here the agranulocytosis, that is the serious conditions that occurs when there is an extremely low number of granulocytes, that is a type of white blood cells in the blood. Kasi yung granulocytes natin mga anak, that is important part of the immune system and help the body fight the infections. And another side effect here is the hepatotoxicity. So that is injury to the liver or impairment of the liver functions caused by the exposure to xenobiotics such as drugs, food additives, alcohol, chlorinated solvents, peroxide fatty acid, fungal toxin, and radioactive isotopes, environmental toxicants, and even some medicinal plant. So, ang nursing consideration, same with true with our major tranquilizer, is best taken after meals. Check the BP, which is the hypotension. Avoid use of kaba because this increase Parkinsonian symptoms. Avoid driving and avoid vitamin B6 or protein-rich food. Next, we have the minor tranquilizer. So, minor tranquilizer or anxiolytics po natin. So, these are the medications listed. We have the diazepam, oxazepam, chlordiazepexide or Librium, alprazolam or the Xanax. So, these are class of drugs primarily used for the sedatives. Okay, so brief natin ang descriptions in terms of the diazepam or the Valium. So that is treats anxiety, muscle spasm, seizure, and alcohol withdrawal. So it can also be a use as a premedications before medical procedure due to its sedative side effects. So, ang pinaka-caution lang natin dito, Nak, there is a high potential for dependence and withdrawal syndromes. And it should be tapered off gradually to avoid withdrawal effects. Okay? And then we have the oxazepam or the Serax. Okay, that is primarily used for anxiety and alcohol withdrawal. So, it's known for having fewer drug interactions compared to other benzodiazepine. So, ang caution lang natin dito, the risk for dependence and withdrawal exists. Its shorter half-life makes it preferable in elderly patients, but it still requires careful use. Okay? And then we have the chlordiazepine or the Librium na tinatawag po natin. Okay? So this one that is commonly used for treating the anxiety and alcohol withdrawal symptoms. So it's often given in detox settings to manage the withdrawal symptoms safely. So ang caution lang natin dito, there is a long-term use of can lead for dependence. It should be used cautiously in elderly patient due to its long durations of actions and potential for sedations and cognitive impairments. And lastly, we have the alprazolam or ating tinatawag na Xanax. Okay? So that is most commonly used for anxiety disorder and panic attacks due to its quick onset of actions and potent anxiolytic effects. Ang caution lang natin dito, due to its quick onset and short half-life, there is a higher risk of abuse tolerance and dependence compared to other benzodiazepine. So it must be tapered off gradually to avoid the withdrawal effects. So general consideration natin dito mga anak is what? There is a high potential for physical and psychological dependence. Prolonged use, especially the higher doses, can lead to tolerance, dependence, and withdrawal symptoms. Okay? Abrupt cessation should be avoided. These drugs must be tapered slowly to prevent withdrawal syndrome, including the rebound, anxiety, seizure, and tremors. Okay? And pinaka-importante din dito mga anak is the regular monitoring is necessary to evaluate the effectiveness, manage in side effects, and prevent the misuse or dependence. So these medications are highly effective in managing the anxiety and related disorder, but must be used with caution due to their risk of dependence and withdrawal. Next, we have the minor tranquilizer. Yung pan natin, sinabi ko na kanina as earlier, we have the desired side effect which is decreased anxiety, adequate sleep. So, ang signs and symptom lang natin dito mga anak na it should be reported, it should be the decreased respiratory rate. And the side effect here is drowsiness, physical or psychological dependence. So, ang pinaka-nursing consideration natin, administer volume separately and before meals and avoid coffee, as said earlier kanina sa mga different drugs that is discussed. Okay, we have the TCA or yung tricyclic antidepressant natin. So we have two here. We have imipramine and topranil. So ito yung common use that is for TCA. So TCA or the tricyclic antidepressants are a class of medication used primarily to treat the depressions and certain or other conditions like anxiety and chronic pain. So they affect the neurotransmitter in the brain such as serotonin and norepinephrine but come with the significant side effect. For example, in the topranil or epipramine rather, is a primarily for depressions and sometimes for childhood enuresis or yung ating tinatawag na bedwetting. So, yung topranil natin, that is increase the level of norepinephrine and serotonin in the brain by inhibiting their uptake, which help improve mood. Ang side effect lang yan is usually that is includes dry mouth, blurred visions, constipation, urinary retention, drowsiness, dizziness, and weight gain. So yung imipramine natin or yung topranil is has anticholinergic effects which can be particularly problematic in older adults. Okay, ang caution lang natin dito mga anak is it can cause serious side effects including the heart rate disturbances which is arrhythmias. Kaya nga it should be reported, di ba? So cardiac function should be monitored especially in patient with history of heart problems. Next, we have the Elavil or amitriptyline that is to use to treat depression, chronic pain, such as the fibromyalgia or neuropathic pain, migraines, and insomnia. So, similar to ipramine, amitriptyline works by inhibiting the reuptake of norepinephrine and serotonin, so boosting the mood and providing analgesic effect for chronic pain. So the side effect here includes the sedation, weight gain, dry mouth, constipations, blurred visions, and orthostatic hypotensions. That is a drug that is dropped in a blood pressure. Kaya nga, one of the nursing consideration here is to check the BP, which is the hypotensions. And then the strong sedative effect makes it useful for insomnia but can cause excessive drowsiness. So, ang caution lang natin dito, like the other TSA, yung amitriptyline natin has a risk of cardiac issues, including the arrhythmias. So, it should be used with caution in older adults and those with heart disease. Overdose can be life-threatening due to its cardiac toxicity. So, ang key consideration lang natin dito mga anak in terms of the TCA have the strong anticholinergic properties which can cause issues such as dry mouth, blurred visions, constipations, urinary retentions, and confusion, particularly in older adults. So another key consideration here is the cardiac risk. So both ibuprofen and amitriptyline can cause cardiac arrhythmias and should be used cautiously in patients with pre-existing heart conditions. So we need to monitor the heart functions may be required. Kaya one of the nursing consideration here is check the heart rates. And monitoring the heart functions may be required. So amitriptyline is a highly sedating and can be useful for patients with insomnia, but it may cause excessive drowsiness, especially when taking during the day. And then there is overdose risk. Yung TCA natin are toxic in overdose which can lead to life-threatening conditions like seizures, arrhythmias, and coma. So the risk should be considered when prescribing them to individual at risk for the overdose. Okay, so TCA are effective but are typically not first-line treatment due to their side effects, profile, and potential toxicity in overdose. So, safer alternatives like SSRI are often tried before resorting to TCA natin. Okay? Next, we have the MAUI or yung ating monoamine oxidase inhibitor. So, ang example natin here, we have the Parnate, Marplan, and Nardil. Okay? So, this is the class of antidepressant primarily used for treating major depressive disorder. Particularly, other treatment have been ineffective. So yung MAUI natin works by inhibiting the enzyme monoamine oxidase which breaks down the neurotransmitter like the serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine, thereby increasing their ability in the brain. However, they require strict dietary restrictions and careful monitoring due to potentially severe interaction with certain foods and medications. Kaya nga, one of the nursing consideration here is avoid tyramine-rich food. Okay, punta tayo kay Parnate. So, Parnate treats major depressive disorder, especially with other antidepressant have failed. Sometimes used off-label for panic disorder or social phobia. Ang Parnate natin inhibits the enzyme monoamine oxidase, leading to increase of level of serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine in our brain, which improves the mood. Yung side effect lang nito, it can be insomnia, agitations, headache, dizziness, and orthostatic hypotensions. And there is a drop in blood pressure when standing. Kaya one of the nursing consideration also is to monitor the BP. Okay? So ang caution natin dito, the most risk involves hypertensive crisis when the tyramine-rich food. So, yan. Kaya nga avoid tyramine-rich food. Ano ba yung mga food that is rich in tyramine? So, we have the aged seed, cured meats, certain alcoholic beverage. Okay? Next one, kaya nga sabi nga natin, one of the nursing consideration is patient must adhere to strict diet and avoid certain over-the-counter medications and supplement. Next, we have the Marplan. Marplan is for treating depression, particularly in patients who have not responded to other antidepressant. Occasionally, we have the use off-label for anxiety disorder or panic disorder. So, like other MAUIs, it increases the availability of serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine by inhibiting the monoamine oxidates, leading to improve the mood and anxiety relief. They are the same side effects of the Parnate like dizziness, weight gain, insomnia, or orthostatic hypotension. So there is a less common but severe side effect include the hypertensive crisis if the dietary restrictions are not followed. So yung patient natin taking isocarbosacid must avoid tyramine-containing foods and medications that could lead to potentially life-threatening interactions. Okay? And we have the Nardil. So that is effective in treating major depressive disorder, particularly atypical depression that is characterized by mood reactivity, increased appetite, hypersomnia, and interpersonal sensitivity. That is also used for anxiety disorder and panic disorder. So there is an increased level of serotonin, norepinephrine, and dopamine by inhibiting the monoamine oxidase, leading to the improvement in the mood and anxiety. So the common side effect here is sedation, weight gain, sexual dysfunction, and orthostatic hypotensions. Okay? So same with true, pare-parehas lang po yung kanilang the side effects, the reportable signs and symptoms, the different side effects, and the nursing considerations. Okay? Next, we have the SSRI or yung tinatawag nating selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors. So we have here the example, we have the Prozac, Zoloft, and Paxil. So these are the widely used for a class of antidepressant known for treating depressions and anxiety disorder with a fewer side effects compared to other antidepressive like tricyclic and Mawis. So yung SSRI natin, that is work for blocking the reabsorption of the serotonin in the brain, which increases its availability and helps improve mood. So they are generally well tolerated but can have the side effects. So each SSRI has a slightly different characteristic. Okay? So kung for example in Prozac, that is a primarily prescribed for major depressive disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, and bulimia nervosa and panic disorder. So, yan po yun. So, ang mechanism of action niya inhibits the serotonin reuptake, increasing the serotonin levels in the brain. Okay? And then, we have the Zoloft, that is prescribed for depression, panic disorder, OCD, social anxiety disorder, or PTSD, or yung tinatawag nating post-traumatic stress disorder. So, mechanism of action works by inhibiting serotonin reuptake similar to other SSRI. Okay? So, next, we have the Paxil. Paxil po natin that is approved for depression, general anxiety disorder, panic disorder, OCD, societal anxiety disorder, PTSD. Yan. So, mechanism of action, same with true, inhibit the reactive of serotonin, increasing its level and improving the mood. Okay? So, pare-parehas lang po mga anak ang desired effect niya, which is increased appetite, adequate sleep. Yan. Ang pinaka number one reportable signs and symptoms natin dyan, that is seizure rather. And the side effects, all of this is tremors, and nursing consideration is no to suicide. Okay? Yan po yung isipin pa natin in terms of SSRI. Next, we have the lithium carbonate or the anti-manic. So this is a mood stabilizer primarily to treat the bipolar disorder. So particularly in managing the manic episodes and preventing the future mood swings. So it also one of the most effective treatment for mania and long-term maintenance therapy for both mania and depressions in bipolar disorder. Kaya nga yung lithium carbonate natin, tinatawag natin anti-manic. So, common side effects, educate the patients about the common side effects including the hand tremors, increased thirst, frequent urinations, weight gain, and nausea. So, this can be managed with dose adjustment and supportive measure. And then other consideration here is the hydration. Emphasize the importance of maintaining the adequate hydrations, because dehydration can lead to increased lithium level and toxicity. Kaya nga po tinitignan natin yung therapeutic level niya, which is 0.5 to 1.5. Okay? And then, advise patient to maintain a consistent sodium intake. So, there is a sudden changes in the sodium level can affect the lithium level. So, there is a dietary considerations, inform patient about the impact of caffeine and alcohol on the lithium level. So, caffeine can decrease the lithium level, while alcohol can increase the risk of the side effect. Okay? Next one, we have the disulfiram or the Antabuse. So this is the medication used to support the treatment of chronic alcoholism by producing the unpleasant effects when the alcohol is consumed. So it is used as a part of comprehensive treatment plan, including the counseling and support groups. So yung mechanism of action po natin in terms of disulfiram works by inhibiting the enzyme Okay, so this inhibition can cause the accumulations of acetylide when alcohol is consumed, leading to unpleasant reactions such as splashing, nausea, vomiting, sweating, palpitations, and shortness of breath. So this action or this reaction is known as the sulperan alcohol reaction or antabuse reactions. So the goal is to deter the individual from drinking the alcohol used to the adverse effect associated with its consumptions. So, indication lang natin dito mga anak is number one is the alcohol dependence used as a deterrent in the management of alcohol dependence and to prevent the relapse in individuals who have already stopped drinking and are abstinent. Number two indication is compliance. It should be used in combination with psychosocial support and counseling. And then the dosage and administrations. So initial dosage, typically the initial dose is 250 to 500 milligrams. So the usual maintenance dose here is 129 milligram to 500 milligram daily. So ang key consideration natin dito is patient selection. Disulfiram is not suitable for all individuals. So it's crucial the patient is fully informed about the potential reactions and understand the importance of abstaining from alcohol. It should not be used in individual with severe liver disease, acute alcohol intoxications, or in those who have not demonstrated abstinence from alcohol. So we need also here to Okay, next we have the disulfiram antabuse. Okay, so yung disulfiram natin, that is a medication used to support the treatment of chronic alcoholism by producing the unpleasant effects when alcohol is consumed. So it is usually the part of comprehensive treatment and plan, so including the counseling and support group. Let's proceed to the overview of the disulfiram. Yung disulfiram natin works by inhibiting the enzyme aceta dehydrate or dehydrogenase, that is the inhibitions causes by the accumulations of acetaldehydes when alcohol is consumed, leading to unpleasant reactions such as splashing, nausea, vomiting, sweating, palpitations, and shortness of breath. So these reactions, known as the disulfiram alcohol reactions or antabuse reactions. So ang goal lang natin dito is to deter the individual from drinking the alcohol due to the adverse effect associated with the consumptions. So number one, the indication is alcohol independence, the compliance, the dosage and administrations. Ayan. So, importante ang disulfiram kasi is not suitable for all individuals. It crucials that patient is fully informed about the potential reactions and understand the importance of abstaining from alcohol. It should not be used for individuals with severe liver disease, alcohol intoxications, or in those who have not demonstrated abstinence from alcohol. And it is important to have the monitoring and safety, and then the adverse effect, and then the alcohol consumptions. Kaya nga po yung disulfiram natin, that is aversion therapy for treatment of alcoholism. Okay, so these are the side effects of our disulfiram, and we have here the patient's teaching. So avoiding of alcohol, and family should never be administered without the person's knowledge. So that is for our discussion in terms of the psychopharmacology. Thank you for listening.